They buried this story on purpose. What Uso said to Cody backstage will change everything. They don't want you to know this. WWE buried it in the noise of post-show social media chaos, drowned it out with highlight packages and merch drops and another Roman Reigns tease that went absolutely nowhere, because if this story gets out, if the real backstage heat between Uso and Cody Rhodes becomes common knowledge, the entire carefully constructed facade of WWE's main event picture cracks open like a sheet of glass. And once you see the fracture, you cannot unsee it. Let's go back to this past Raw. On paper, fine show, decent pops, competent television. But when the cameras went dark and the arena lights came up and the production truck started rolling out, something happened in that backstage corridor that the dirt sheets glossed over, that WWE.com will never publish, and that the commentary team would choke on if they were ever forced to address it. Uso pulled Cody Rhodes aside. Not in a scripted segment, not in a produced backstage vignette with soft lighting and a camera crew. In the raw, unfiltered, real-deal hallway of professional wrestling life, the place where careers have been made, ended, and redirected without a single fan ever knowing. And what was said in that hallway, it wasn't congratulations, it wasn't brotherhood, it was a challenge, a reckoning, a moment between two men who have completely different ideas about where this company is supposed to go, and only one of them is being listened to right now. Question 1. Do you believe WWE Creative actually has a long-term plan for Uso, or are they making it up week by week? Drop your answer right now in the comments. I need to know. Here's what you have to understand about Uso before we go any further, and I mean truly understand, not the surface-level main event chant version that WWE wants to sell you on. This man spent the better part of a decade being treated as furniture. He was the other Uso, the one standing to the left, the one who took the pin when the story needed someone to fall. He bled for this company in storylines that consumed him emotionally, psychologically, in ways that most performers never get pushed to. And then, when the moment of his life arrived and the crowd in 2023 turned Uso into one of the most organically over acts in professional wrestling in the last 10 years, what did WWE do? They hesitated. They booked around him. They used him as a supporting character in Roman's story, then Sami's story, then Cody's story, and every single time you broke through the ceiling of whatever box they put him in, they found a new, lower ceiling to put above his head. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes, and I say this as someone who respects Cody's work, who watched him rebuild himself from the ground up in every independent promotion that would have him, who was there for the return pop at WrestleMania 38. Cody has had the red carpet unrolled beneath his boots since the moment he came back. Every promo, every program, every championship opportunity, the machine is behind Cody. The machine has always been behind Cody since his return, and Uso watched every frame of it. Question 2. Be honest with yourself. At any point in the last 12 months, did Uso feel more like the true top babyface of Raw than Cody Rhodes? Because I think you know the answer. Tell me in the comments. Now here's where the backstage conversation matters in a way that goes beyond gossip. The word coming out of people close to the situation, and these are not random Reddit accounts, these are individuals with consistent track records, is that G approached Cody with a level of directness that was uncommon even by locker room standards. The substance of what was communicated wasn't aggression for aggression's sake. It was a question wrapped in frustration, wrapped in years of patience wearing completely, irreversibly thin. G essentially asked, when is it actually my time? Not as a career complaint, not as a threat, as a legitimate inquiry from a man who has earned the right to ask that question out loud without being made to feel grateful just for being on television. And what makes this moment seismic is not the question itself, it's the silence that reportedly followed it. Because Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, the man who finished the story, the face of Monday Night Raw, didn't have a clean answer. Question 3. If WWE gave Uso the WWE Championship right now tonight, no build-up, just the title, would the crowd accept it, or has creative waited too long? This is important. I want a real answer from real wrestling fans below. Let me tell you what this silence means, because this is where I refuse to let WWE Creative gaslight us anymore. WWE has a pattern, a deeply frustrating, exhaustingly predictable, infuriating pattern of identifying the moment a performer connects with the audience on a frequency that cannot be manufactured, that electric, once-in-a-generation current that flows between a performer and a crowd, and then, instead of strapping a rocket to that performer and launching them, they slow walk it, they committee it, they run it past marketing, they wonder if the merch numbers are there, they ask if the demos support the push, and by the time they finish running it through the machine, the moment is gone. The crowd hasn't forgotten, but the momentum has bled out on the cold floor of corporate hesitation. They did it to Sami Zayn. They came dangerously close to doing it to Kevin Owens twice. They have done it systematically, repeatedly, and without apparent shame to talent after talent after talent who the audience chose, not the company. The audience, and the audience is not wrong. The audience is never wrong about this. Question 4. Name one WWE superstar right now, outside of Cody, who creative has consistently protected and pushed correctly over the last 2 years. Just one. I'll wait. Now I want to address the people who are going to show up in these comments and say, "G is fine, is over, he main event WrestleMania, stop complaining." No, participating in a WrestleMania match is not the same as being protected as a main event commodity. Being over with the crowd is not the same as having the company's structural support beneath you. You can be over and still be booked as disposable. You can main event one night and then spend the following month in a program that signals clearly, unmistakably, that you are not the priority. What G Uso has right now is crowd love without company commitment, and in professional wrestling, that combination has a very specific expiration date. History has shown us this with depressing consistency. The crowd loved Zack Ryder. They loved him. They made him a phenomenon through grassroots energy when WWE had written him off entirely. And what did the company do with that love? They handed it to John Cena in a segment and walked away. The crowd loved Cicero in 2021 during that brief, beautiful, devastating window when Cicero's section signs were everywhere and the WrestleMania moment felt genuinely imminent. And what did the company do? They did nothing. They did nothing. Question 5. Do you believe WWE creative actually respects what G Uso means to the audience, or are they planning to use his popularity to elevate someone else's story? Drop your prediction. Be specific. Here's what I think that conversation in the hallway actually represents, and why it matters far beyond whatever WWE packages it as on television. G Uso is at the crossroads moment of his career, not a scripted crossroads, a real one. The kind where a performer has to look at the company they've given years to and make a decision about whether the relationship is reciprocal. AEW exists. New Japan exists. The independent scene for a talent of G's magnitude would generate money and attention immediately. The landscape of professional wrestling in 2026 is not what it was when G had no options. He has options now. And if WWE loses G Uso because they were too slow, too cautious, too corporate to recognize what they have in him, if we wake up one morning and see that signing announcement on a competitor's platform, that will not be a surprise. That will be the inevitable result of a company that consistently mistakes patience for loyalty and takes both for granted. Question 6. If G Uso signed with AEW tomorrow, be honest, would you follow him? Would you watch? And if the answer is yes, what does that tell you about how WWE has made you feel about their own product? Let me tell you what I need to happen, because this is a wrestling fan speaking now, not a content creator, not an analyst, just someone who has been watching this business for too long to accept mediocrity dressed in production value. I need WWE to sit down and make a decision, not a 6-month plan, not a let's see how the numbers look, a decision. G Uso is a main event performer. G Uso connects with audiences across demographics in ways that money cannot manufacture. G Uso has paid every toll, crossed every bridge, taken every loss, and done every job that was asked of him, and he has done it while remaining one of the most genuinely beloved figures in modern wrestling. Give him the championship, give him the proper program, give him the promo time without the comedy buffer, give him the WrestleMania moment that isn't supporting someone else's arc. Give him the 45 minutes of television that Cody gets every single week to tell his story, and let G tell his. Because if that conversation in the backstage hallway after Raw was G Uso drawing a line in the sand and every piece of information I have suggests that it was, then WWE has a very narrow window to respond correctly. Question 7, and this is the big one. What do you think WWE does next with G Uso? Not what you want, not what he deserves. What do you think they actually do? Tell me in the comments right now. Because I think the answer reveals everything about where this company is headed. This is not going away. This story does not get quieter. Every week that G Uso stands in that ring and that crowd erupts for him and the camera pans away to someone else's reaction, every week that happens, the pressure builds, the frustration builds, the fans notice, the roster notices, and G Uso notices most of all. If this video made your blood pressure move, if you felt even 1 second of that rage that lives permanently in every real wrestling fan's chest, then you know exactly what to do. Smash that like button until your thumb hurts. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know who has been patient long enough. Subscribe to Wrestling Zone 1, because we do not soften these conversations for comfort, we have them because they matter. And in those comments right now, not later. Right now I want your predictions, your reactions, your frustration, your hope. Tell me what WWE does with Jey Uso. Tell me if you think this backstage moment changes anything. Tell me if you still believe, because I'm still watching. I'm still furious, and I am not going anywhere. Ute.